New labor codes. Will workers become stronger or will rights weaken? The full story from 29 laws to 4 codes. Just imagine. You are getting ready to go to work in the morning. Whether it is a factory, a shop, an office, or a gig you get through a mobile app, you trust that if you lose your job tomorrow, fall sick, or face an accident, the system will support you. But amid this trust, a sudden news breaks. 29 old labor laws in the country have been scrapped and replaced with just 4 new labor codes. The government says this is a historic reform for workers. The question arises, will history really change, or has only the form of the laws been changed? This question lies at the heart of this story. You should know that the history of labor laws in India has always been complex. Over decades, 29 different laws were created. Some for minimum wages, some for social security, some for the right to strike, and some for working hours. The government and industry have long argued that so many laws make doing business difficult. On the other hand, labor unions have feared that without these laws, workers would become completely insecure. Amid this conflict, the government took a major step and said, now there will be not 29 laws, but only 4 codes. Simple, clear, and modern. According to the government, these 4 codes will give workers more rights under one umbrella. Unorganized sector workers, gig workers, and platform workers, who earlier did not properly exist in the eyes of the law, have now been promised social security. On the surface, this sounds like a very big change. But the real question lies in the gap between promises written on paper and rights actually delivered on the ground. First, let's talk about social security. The government claims that for the first time, crores of workers in the unorganized sector will come under the ambit of social security. But when the language of the law is examined closely, the picture becomes a bit blurry. The Social Security Code does not say that workers will get social security as a right. Instead, it states that the central and state governments will form and notify schemes from time to time. In other words, instead of guaranteeing the right in the law itself, it has been left to the government's discretion and budget. This is where the discussion of schemification begins. A right means you can demand it, go to court, and the government is accountable. A scheme means if the government wants, it will provide it. If it doesn't, it can modify it or shut it down. In India, many welfare schemes have come and gone in the past. Many funds were created, but due to unclear funding, they could not survive. The new codes also mention a social security fund, but there is no clear answer on where the money will come from: government, employer, or CSR. However, in the case of gig and platform workers, a different arrangement can be seen. Here, aggregators are required to contribute a portion of their turnover to social security schemes. This seems like a step in the right direction, where employer contribution makes the system sustainable, as seen in EPF or ESI. But the question remains, if this model works, why hasn't it been extended to workers in the rest of the unorganized sector? Now let's come to the second big claim, that the new labor codes will empower workers and improve labor standards, especially the Industrial Relations Code. The government says this will bring industrial peace. But from the perspective of labor unions, this code weakens them. Trade union registration has become more difficult, and registrars have been given far greater powers to deregister unions. The law uses language that leaves wide scope for interpretation. If the registrar believes that a union has violated rules, it can cancel the registration. The question then is, who decides what counts as a violation? And once registration is cancelled, the union's strike automatically becomes illegal. In other words, an administrative decision can directly eliminate workers' collective rights. There has also been a major change regarding the right to strike. Earlier, a 14-day notice was required only in public utility services. Now, this rule applies to almost every industrial establishment. This means workers cannot protest suddenly. Employers get time to prepare in advance. When there is already a large power imbalance between workers and employers, this notice period further widens that gap. Now let's come to the third claim, the promise of formalizing employment. The government says that every employee will receive an appointment letter. This sounds very good, because in India millions of people work without any written contract. But the question is, what will be the punishment if an appointment letter is not given? The law does not provide a clear answer to this. Without monitoring and strict penalties, this rule risks remaining only on paper. Even more important is the new system of fixed-term employment. At first glance, this system looks flexible. Employees receive the same wages and benefits as permanent workers. But the difference is that a fixed-term employee does not get retrenchment compensation. Once the contract ends, the job ends. Now this category has been made applicable across almost every sector. In most countries, fixed-term work is limited to temporary needs. But making it almost universal in India means permanent jobs may become even fewer. And when a job always depends on contract renewal, employees will be afraid to join unions or participate in strikes. This will directly impact the labor movement and collective bargaining. Here a big question arises. Does the balance of the new labor codes truly lie equally between workers and businesses? Critics say that this balance is clearly tilted in favor of businesses. In the name of labor flexibility, protections have been reduced. Legal responsibilities have been diluted. And workers' rights have been left to schemes and notifications. The government argues that this will attract investment, boost industry, and create jobs. But history shows that the quality of employment is just as important as the quantity. If jobs are temporary, insecure, and voiceless, social unrest will increase. And unrest can never be the foundation of sustainable development. To fully understand these new codes, we also need to look at the nature of India's labor market. A large part of India works in the unorganized sector, where compliance with laws is already weak. If the new codes also fail to clearly define and enforce rights, real change on the ground may remain very limited. The question is not whether change is needed or not. The question is, for whom is the change and at what cost? Will workers truly get social security or just the promise of schemes? Will unions become stronger or weaker? Will employment truly become formal? Or will the same insecurity continue under a new name? In the end, the question is for you. If workers' security has to be reduced to increase the speed of development, can that development really be called sustainable? Or is true development one in which both the factory owner and the factory worker feel secure? The new labor codes have once again placed this debate before the country. Now it remains to be seen which way the impact of these laws will tilt in the coming years towards strengthening workers or merely towards making business easier.
If our video has taught you something new, do not forget to like and share this video so that this information can reach others as well. Your likes and shares are a source of inspiration for us. If you have any questions or suggestions, please let us know in the comments. It will be our honor to answer your questions and listen to suggestions. And yes, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon so that you stay connected with every new story. Thank you. GRT Business YouTube channel sources, news from various news agencies, opinion polls and other public sources. We try to ensure that every report and summary is accurate and verified, but we are not responsible for any dispute or error. Our aim is only to provide you with accurate information.